Good evening, and thank you for joining me. My name is Francine Chirambo. I'm very excited to be here, and I hope you too are excited. Last week, thank you for joining me. If you joined me last week I spoke about outer beauty versus inner beauty. And tonight, I'm going to be talking about sustaining marriage relationships. So if you've just joined me, you are welcome. Tag somebody or feel free to share this video. I'm really excited, and I'm just so happy to be able to be here tonight to just have a quick chat with whoever is available online. If you're going to get hold of this video while I'm offline, you are also welcome, and feel free to comment. I would love to hear your comments. So let's get started tonight. It's a wonderful day that the Lord has made. It's been a busy day for me. I don't know how your day has been, but I'm just excited to be here. Just a few moments of your time and we'll be done. Welcome to you guys. I'll just switch off my music. I love this music, but I'll just switch it off so that we can get started. So like I mentioned last time, I spoke about outer beauty and inner beauty, but tonight I'll be speaking about sustaining your marriage relationships. Okay, so relationships in a family, different relationships in a family do exist. So you can have a grandmother, grandfather, you have siblings, brothers and sisters. There is the parent-child relationship, and there is a husband-wife relationship. And tonight I will only be talking about the husband and wife relationship because that is what I'm about. I'm always talking about relationships concerning a husband and a wife, and to those that are dating. So thank you very much for joining me. Tag somebody and feel free to share the video. So when we talk about sustaining your relationship, what exactly does it mean? A lot of times I say a marriage can be beautiful, okay? But it can also be ugly. So it simply depends on how much effort you are going to put in as a couple. So if it's one-sided, sometimes it can get very tricky. It can get very difficult. So I'm always encouraging everybody to, meaning I'm always encouraging couples to make an effort. What I have noticed is that a lot of wives are putting in so much effort in helping to sustain their marriages, and husbands are laid back for some reason or the other. I'm not sure what's happening out there, but I find that a lot of wives are trying hard to maintain their relationship. So I would encourage a lot of husbands to take part in this because it depends on you. It depends on the effort. Like I said earlier, marriage can be beautiful, but it can also be ugly. So what would you rather have? Just to kick off, I always say, how you start off in a marriage matters. All right. So some people met and they were in courtship for a while and they decided to get married, while others got married after 2 weeks of meeting, and others it's been arranged for them. So it just depends on how you have started. But I always want to say it depends how you have started. It also depends how you settle in. And it also depends on what you are going to do about it in future. So please, if you've just joined me, thank you for joining. Tonight I'm talking about sustaining your marriage relationship. A marriage should never be on autopilot. Okay. A marriage must not be left on its own. It cannot drive itself. You have to put in the effort. You as a husband and you as a wife need to put in that effort. So I've just mentioned that how you start off matters. And I've also mentioned that you need to take time to know each other. Sometimes people will argue. They'll tell you that you never stop knowing your spouse. I agree. But there's also a need for you to know the person that you are going to get married to. And some people will say, it doesn't matter if I know this person or I don't. As long as we love each other, we are going to get married. Well, it's perfect. You can do whatever you want. But I would like to tell you that take time to know each other. It's going to help you in future. All right. I would like to encourage everybody that would like to get married to go through premarital counseling, because this will help you. It will help you a lot. It may seem like a waste of time because you feel you know everything, but you will never know everything. That's what marriage is about. So if you're already married, I still insist, I still encourage you to go through premarital counseling, because whatever has caused you to want to remarry must be dealt with. Okay, you must know why you got married, why you left that marriage, and why you want to get married. You know, if it's your second marriage or third or whatever it may be. But don't feel as if just because you've been married before, then you know everything. That's a dangerous place to be. Even people who have been married before need to go through the procedure again if they want to get married, because a lot of things change. And you don't know, maybe you're the one that made a mistake in that marriage. Perhaps you're still hurting and you need to heal. And you might have made a lot of mistakes in your previous marriage that you don't want to carry on, you know, in your new marriage. Or you might have been angry with your previous spouse and you don't want to carry over the anger. So that will be dealt with during your premarital counseling. So if it's a whether it's a new marriage or it's somebody that has been married before and wants to get into another marriage, it's very important that you attend premarital counseling. That's going to help you. So I'm mentioning this because I said how you start off will matter. How you start off is important. And then another point that I would like to bring to your attention is marriage enhancement. Once you get married, there's something that we call marriage enhancement. It means that you have to keep working on your marriage. You have to keep bringing in new ideas, and you have to keep each other excited. That is what it's about. So you can't just get into a marriage. You've been married 10 years and you're just with the same matters that you had when you got married, the same information that you gathered just before you got married. You have to keep updating yourselves, and you have to keep enhancing so that you stay connected, so that you stay interested with each other. And then lastly, you have to also involve somebody if you're struggling in your marriage. Okay, if you're thinking you are not doing so well, it's okay to invite a family member, or if you can't trust them or you are not comfortable about it, it's okay to speak to a coach like myself or a counselor, whatever they are calling themselves, but somebody that can assist you. Okay, so if you've just joined me tonight, I'm talking about sustaining marriage relationships. I've just mentioned that there are a number of factors that you need to look at, but also the first point that I mentioned is that marriage can either be ugly or it can be beautiful. It depends on how much effort you're going to put in as a couple. Not one-sided, but both you and husband and wife need to put in some effort. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. And I also mentioned that marriage can never be on autopilot. Somebody needs to drive it. You need to know how to maintain it. So everything has a maintenance plan. When you buy your house, there's a maintenance plan. When you buy a car, there's a maintenance plan. So it's the same with marriage. You get married, you also have to maintain that marriage. So you just can't sit and feel we are married, we've got children, and until death do us part. It doesn't work like that. So I would like to bring to your attention some factors that can assist you to sustain your relationship. Like I mentioned, there's one video that I actually shared, and I was talking about a marriage which is like a garden. So a garden needs sunlight, it needs water, it needs fertilizer, and it needs you to do the weeding and all that. So if you don't do that, you're going to have weeds in the garden, and they're going to choke up the nice flowers, okay, or the nice plants that you have in the garden. So it's the same with the marriage. I was mentioning that you need to maintain your communication skills, and you need to maintain the dating, keep each other on your toes so that you can maintain just the love between the two of you. So how best can you sustain a marriage relationship? So I'm just going to give you a few factors that can assist you to sustain your relationship. I'm not going to explain the factors, but I'm just going to talk through them rather. I'm not going to explain. So the first one that I would like to talk about is respect. If you've just joined me, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your time. Tag somebody or feel free to share the video. I'm talking about sustaining your marriage relationship, sustaining your relationship, basically. That's what it is. So the first point that I'm talking about tonight is respect. Okay, so I mentioned that I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll talk through them. So respect, a relationship that has no respect is not going to be a good relationship at all. Nobody ever wants to feel disrespected. So yes, the word tells us that a wife must respect the husband, but also a wife needs to be respected, right? It's mutual. That's how it works. So just because I'm told that as a wife I must respect my husband, it doesn't mean he must disrespect me. Yes, it's a need for him, but also for a wife, for any partner or anyone in a relationship, you deserve that respect. So we get to respect each other in a relationship. A relationship which has respect goes a long way. So secondly, what I would like to mention here is commitment. You don't want to get into a relationship where there is no commitment. Commitment simply means I forsake all others and I'm just going to concentrate on my husband. So you forsake all others and you concentrate on your spouse, your wife or your husband. That's what it means. You are committed. You'll be there in sickness and in health. So we get to commit. That is what it's about. If you are in a relationship where your spouse or your partner doesn't want to commit, it's going to be a very painful one. So for the ones that are dating, just watch this. If the person that you are dating doesn't want to commit to anything, they just feel they can be a free bird, they want their freedom, and the so-called freedom, whatever they mean by that, just take caution and just tread carefully there, because you don't want to eventually get married to somebody who doesn't believe in commitment. You're going to have a lot of problems there. The third point I would like to talk about is trust. Trust is very vital in any relationship. It doesn't matter whether it's an employee-employer relationship or a parent-child relationship. Trust is very important. So what about in a marriage? A marriage without trust is going to be very problematic, I must say. So you will constantly be in doubt of each other, and that is not healthy. So you have to build some trust between the two of you. If there is no trust, you're going to struggle. You will struggle big time. So you have to build the trust. Trust is not built in a day. It is built over time. You have to be careful where trust is concerned, because you may have taken 10 years to build the trust, but just one simple mistake, one stupid mistake is going to break the trust. So you have to start rebuilding after it's been broken. And once it's been broken, it's not easy to rebuild. So just take care of that. And then also one point that I always like mentioning is that don't give your spouse, don't give your partner any reason to doubt you. Okay, so that is maintaining the trust between the two of you. Let's talk about forgiveness, for instance. In order to sustain a relationship, you will require forgiveness. Every relationship requires you to forgive. There are a lot of things that we do to each other. Some of them are very painful. Some of them are less painful. The issue here is forgiveness. How do you handle forgiveness? Do you keep a record of wrongs? You know, I'm asking a record of wrongs because if your spouse does anything to you, are you determined? Are you willing to forgive? So if you are going to sustain this relationship, you need to speak about forgiveness. You need to be the one to want to forgive and also asking for forgiveness. So firstly, forgiveness must be something that you want to do in your relationship as a couple. Okay? If you've just joined me, thank you for joining. Talking about sustaining your relationship. That is sustaining marriage relationships. I started by talking about marriage. Marriage can either be beautiful or it can be ugly. You have seen it. I'm sure you have. Perhaps your marriage is not beautiful right now. Perhaps it's ugly. But there are a number of ways that you can improve on that. I mentioned that every relationship is vital. Okay, so you need to take care of it. It doesn't matter what it is, and different kinds of relationships exist in a family. So I'm only concentrating on a husband and wife relationship, or at least I can speak to the people that are dating, the people that are in courtship, because it's going to help them. So I've spoken about respect, I've spoken about commitment, I've spoken about trust, and I've spoken about forgiveness. And let's talk about communication. Communication is another tool that is required. You need to learn how to communicate effectively as a couple. Okay, so a communication can either be negative or it can be positive. But in this instance, I want to emphasize on positive communication. Communication that builds. So communication is a very broad topic. Actually, I'm preparing a retreat where I'll just talk about communication. It's very broad. But without communication, a lot of issues in your life are going to fall apart. Everything revolves around communication, be it finances, family, intimacy, and all that. They will revolve around communication. So if you can't communicate, you're going to find it difficult to even sustain the relationship. Broken down communication can actually lead you to even a divorce, because you just feel your issues are irreconcilable. So communication is a vital tool. Everything actually is vital. You just need to learn on, how to maintain that. And then let's talk about transparency. Transparency is very important in any relationship, because you don't want to stay with somebody who is not transparent. Somebody who is dishonest is not pleasant to be with. So I'm speaking to you directly, not about your spouse, but to you as a spouse. So you need to be transparent in that relationship. My favorite example also is on finances, or it's about my whereabouts. For instance, if I tell my husband that I'm going to Johannesburg, let me go to Johannesburg. If I tell my husband that I will be in Johannesburg at such and such a time, I should head to Johannesburg and be where I say I'm going to be. I shouldn't head to Polokwane, because if I head to Polokwane, that is going to be something that is dishonest on my part. And then finances as well, and everything else that is happening around our lifestyles. Are we transparent? So that is something that is going to assist you. And lastly, I want to talk about conflict resolution. I have mentioned several times on my page, I made a lot of posts that I always say, don't let your issues or your matters accumulate. Sort out your problems as they arise. That way it's going to be easier. Don't try to sweep anything under the carpet. It's going to be a problem in the future. So if you have a problem today, pray about it. Find the right words. Approach your partner, approach your spouse, and talk about it. Okay, that is how we do things. But if for one reason or the other you're not able to resolve, seek counsel. That is something that I always say. Seek counsel if you can't resolve, but just don't push anything under the carpet. It's not going to work. So conflict resolution is very important. You need to make sure that you address every issue as it arises within that relationship. If you're going to have a problem and your spouse comes through and says, what's the problem? And you say nothing, it will remain nothing forever, and nothing is going to be achieved. By doing that, you're going to realize that you have actually created more problems, and then at the end of the day, you won't be able to even resolve, the conflict. Something that started off very small is going to be, it will be blown out of proportion, actually. So just make sure, just take care of that conflict, of the conflicts that you are having. Make sure you sort out everything. Now, I'm not talking about you being petty. You don't have to run around and do all sorts of things for little things. Sometimes you can let certain things go. But if something really bugs you, if something bothers you, there's a need to talk about it. So if you've just joined me, I'm talking about sustaining marriage relationships. How best can you sustain that? What needs to be sustained? What elements, what factors are affected when we talk about sustaining a relationship? So I started off by saying marriage can either be ugly or it can be beautiful. It's really up to you. You need to put in the effort as a husband. You need to put in the effort as a wife. If you can't do that, unfortunately, it's going to be a bad marriage. It's going to be very ugly. But if you want a beautiful marriage, you need to do a number of things. For instance, if you're already married, you need to do your marriage enhancement. Attend those programs, attend the workshops, the seminars that will help you to improve everything else around your marriage. That way, it's going to be easier. You need to improve on your intimacy. You need to improve on your sex. You need to improve on your finances. You need to improve on your communication skills. So there's so much that you can do at these marriage programs, marriage enhancement programs. So when they are being advertised, don't shy away, don't run away. Marriage enhancement programs are not just for people who have problems. They are for anybody who is married, so that you'll be able to improve. You can work on your relationship and enjoy it better. There's always room for us to improve. There's room for anybody to. There's room for me to improve. So every day I'm working on my marriage. My husband and I are doing the same. So it's something that you need to do often. And then I talked about the elements that will assist you, the elements that you can work on. I spoke about respect. I spoke about commitment, trust, forgiveness, communication, transparency, and I ended by talking about conflict resolution. So it's really up to you. If you want to maintain that marriage, if you want to enjoy that marriage, work on it. Okay, so this is all that I had tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. I would just like to talk about our 6th anniversary that we are going to have here in Pretoria on the 17th of August. Marriage Pillar is going to be celebrating its 6th anniversary on the 17th of August. Do join us. It's a free event and we'll be happy to have you. We're going to have a lot of fun and we'll have a lot of prizes to be won. So get in touch with me and just get more information. Would love to have you there. And secondly, we're going to have I'm going to host a couples dinner and workshop in Lusaka. If you are available, kindly join us. It's going to be on the 9th of August and it's going to be at Cresta Golf View Hotel in Lusaka. It's going to start at 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Do get in touch if you want more information about that. And then also, I would like to invite you to like my channel, my YouTube channel. I do have some videos there that I would love you to look at. But this evening, I just want to thank you for joining me. And as usual, I'm excited to be here. I would just like to encourage somebody, if you're going through a tough time, don't give up, don't quit, seek help. I always have a slot for couples that can't afford. I would love to help you for free. Kindly get in touch with me, or if you know somebody that you can recommend, I have a slot every month and I'm just excited. I'm just willing to help because I really have a passion for marriage and I would love other people to enjoy marriage. Like I mentioned earlier, marriage can either be ugly or it can be beautiful. But let's make it beautiful for everyone. We can all enjoy it. It's an institution that God Himself ordained. And it's a wonderful thing. It's a pity that a lot of people have made it to look so bad. It is not bad. It is beautiful. And I am here to be, to testify about the goodness of the Lord. I'm here to tell people that it is not every marriage that is struggling. Yes, challenges are there. Challenges will always be there. I mean, this is different individuals coming from different backgrounds, so you will always have different opinions. So you will experience a few setbacks here and there. But indeed, marriage can be beautiful. You need to work on that. So I would like to testify. I would like to encourage somebody that has been afraid of getting married, because people around them always talk about how bad marriage is, how difficult it is. No, you're not a slave when you get into that marriage. You have a companion and, let God be the center of that marriage and you're going to see wonders. Okay. So thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back here next week at the same time, 8 p.m. on Wednesday. I'll be here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and I will have another topic. But for now, Let's talk some loving. Thank you and bye-bye.